Garage Geek is getting into the spirit of Christmas. Hi, welcome to Garage Geek. Today I have 3 Christmas-related graphic novels to showcase. First is going to be one section of volume 19 of Will Eisner's The Spirit. Next is going to be Last Christmas, put out by Image Comics. And finally, Batman Noel by Lee Bermejo and DC Comics. Garage Geek is very, very late to the Spirit game. This is the only Spirit that I own, but after reading one small section of this, I decided that I need more Spirit in my life. So I ordered some of the magazines that are available, and there are, I believe, 25 volumes of this hardcover version put out by DC Comics. I've been meaning to read this, and so as I was flipping through this, I saw that the very last portion of this is a very short Christmas comic, which was put out in December 25th of 1949, called The Christmas Spirit. In this episode, Santa is enjoying his last few hours before having to start Christmas duties, checking into hotels, having a good time before his duty starts. And it must be in New York, because I think that's where the Spirit takes place. Now, it's pretty comical because as he's walking around, he's eavesdropping into what people are asking for, and he's adding that to his list. And he sometimes gets in trouble because he goes a little bit too far. But Santa accidentally gets bopped over the head and gets amnesia. I won't spoil it for you, but it's 7 pages, and it was a lot of fun, and I think it was a great introduction to the world of the Spirit, and I look forward to reading more. So the next comic I read is this hardbound edition called The Last Christmas, and it was put out by Image Comics, and this collects a 5-issue miniseries. Now, I'm just going to say that right off the bat, I'm not big into comedy, and while I enjoyed this, this is not something that I would highly recommend. However, if you are into comedy, you actually might really like this. So very briefly, there's an Armageddon. A lot of people become mutants and monsters. It's told by a snowman, very reminiscent of Rankin Bass, Frosty the Snowman. There's going to be a lot of in-jokes and references to holiday songs and specials throughout this, and it's kind of fun in that vein to find those little Easter eggs, although the Easter Bunny is not very much appreciated in this series of comics. After the apocalypse, some marauders come and they destroy the North Pole, including killing Miss Claus. And that sends Santa on a years-long binge of suicidal tendencies and self-destructive behavior. He soon finds out that he cannot die as long as there's even one person in the world who believes in Santa and has hope. There's a lot of great drawings of Santa in various stages of debauchery. In this scene, he sets himself on fire. But he can't die. He goes out on a mission, and his mission is he will kill the last boy alive who believes in him so that he can finally die and be rid of his misery. Well, that's all I'm going to say. It's a wild romp. It's fun. I did enjoy it. It's just not something that I would ever want to return to. I do like this picture of Santa with his boobs hanging out. His moves, I should say. So we do have nice splash pages in a very more modern style. So if you like the art and you liked the story, I think you would enjoy this. It's relatively cheap. It's readily available. This is just not my cup of tea, so to speak. But I think a lot of you out there, if you like a good dose of sacrilege involved with your holidays, then but still has a Christmas message, then I would suggest that you look for The Last Christmas. The last one is Batman Noel. And I realized that as I was reading this, that I had read this before, and I might have even reviewed it last year or the year before. So if that's the case, sorry. I was glad that I reread this because this is done by Lee Bermejo, and that guy is just a superstar in the field of comic art, if you ask me. And then he also wrote this. Now, if there's one complaint I have, is that it's an older style and it doesn't have a wraparound cover, which I absolutely love. So this is the story of A Christmas Carol retold with Batman being Scrooge, and he is going to be visited by Robin, who is going to tell him that he will be visited by 3 ghosts because he needs to make a change. He's very bitter, but he wants revenge on the Joker for the death of Robin and possibly a lot of other crimes. And he goes so far as to use a father who had a very poor father who was involved in a crime, and his child as bait to lure in the Joker. For everyone around him, this is just going too far. Now, while the story is a lot of fun, what's to marvel about here is the art. Let me give you an example. We start with the top of a building, and we slowly pan down, and we go further down to the street, and this is later we're going to find out this is the apartment where they live, I believe. And then we go further down until, boom, we finally have Batman. What's so cool about Lee Bermejo art is how realistic it is. You're going to see Batman's costume. It's amalgamation of what you would think someone would really need in a costume to do what Batman does. And then you got the character of Bob Cratchit and Tiny Tim, and these are the 2 that are in danger from the Joker. And here comes Batman swooping in. This art in this is just stunning. You can look at every panel. Oh, for example, here, this is a great example of the art. Look at the shading on Batman's costume and on Robin's. I mean, Robin's costume looks satiny. And look at Batman's boots. I mean, you can get a different feel for the texture of the costumes based on the way he shades and colors. I want to show you another segment where he meets up with Catwoman. And again, you can look at their faces, the different textures of their costumes. The art in this is simply stunning. You can, like I said, you could just pour over this art. And when they talk about what Batman used to be as, part of the story, because it goes into the past and talks about, how Scrooge, what he was when he was younger, and how much fun he used to have crime fighting and all the different kinds of scenarios they got up to, what Batman has lost along the way. It's really a lot of fun. So here you have the 2 of them racing across the rooftops, remembering all the different villains of the past. I mean, this art is just simply gorgeous. I don't know how many times I have to say that. And of course, one of the people who visits him is Superman. And you get a stark contrast of dark and light, because Superman, of course, represents the hope for the future as one of the ghosts. And it's one part of the novel where you get color. You also get more color in the scenes with Bob and Tiny Tim. Another thing that I liked about this is that Batman starts using these phrases just like Scrooge does. So let's listen to this little bit of dialogue. Superman states, "Isn't it bad form for a hunter to use parents or children as bait?" And Batman replies, "Justice comes at a price. This one is going to help me reel in the clown. He works for him." And then Superman states, "If the father is involved, he could go to prison or worse." He could, meaning that who would be there to look after the child? Then we only decrease the surplus criminal population. So, of course, that's a reference to A Christmas Carol. One of the things that Scrooge says that he regrets later.
And decrease the surplus population.
And then Superman says, "What are you going to do about the boy? I'm going to scare him. Scare him so badly he doesn't dare ever follow in his father's footsteps." And so you can see how dark Batman has gone in his quest to capture the Joker, where he's willing to put a child's life in danger. Not only that, he wants to put his father in prison and terrify him so that he'll never become a criminal. Now, throughout this comic, we have a real sense of, but of course, the final ghost that he encounters is the Joker himself. And look at this gorgeous art where the Joker is dragging Batman through the snow of the Arkham Cemetery gates. If you can see this close up, this panel is just stunningly done. There are panels of brilliance throughout this comic. Here's a double page. There's a lot of double page spreads in this. It's a very quick read where he is dragging him through the cemetery. And it's not all dark. You do get pages of light artwork. It's not light in the sense that it's more like firelit backgrounds, making the art appear light, but it's very dark in nature. So it's going to be up to you to read this story and see how it ends. I'm going to say if you're a fan of Batman, this is an absolute must. You need this in your collection. If you're a fan of superhero Christmas tales or Christmas comics, then you absolutely need this in your collection. This is a gorgeous addition to any comic collector's library. So there you have it, 3 Christmas-related comic books or graphic novels for you to check out this holiday season. As always, Garage Geek wants to thank you for your support.